with Randy Couture back Stillwater, Oklahoma. You spent a few times here in your life, right?
Back home.
Yeah. Well, hey, getting honored by the Hall of Fame as an outstanding American, which is really about everything you do, not just your connection to wrestling, but about your life and your achievements. So what were your thoughts when the Hall gave you a call and said, hey?
Well, obviously I was honored. It's an amazing group to be included in. My 4 years here, we went to the Hall of Fame all the time. I walked around and read those names and learned about those stories of those guys that were on those walls. And now to get the opportunity to be recognized and be on the wall myself is pretty remarkable, in my opinion.
Now, you wrestled in high school in Washington, right? And went into the Army to be in the Army, right? Mm-hmm. And we're wrestling, and you found themselves together again with the all-Army team, and that's kind of the path you took to a whole lot of things. Talk about that part of your life, because it obviously it helped change your direction.
I was a one-time state champion in the state of Washington. Didn't get much recognition outside on a national platform. Yeah. I never went to the juniors. I never wrestled freestyle or Greco or done any of that. I just wrestled scholastically, and consequently didn't get much notice to go to college anywhere. Had a new blossoming family and needed to support that, and ended up joining the service. And to be honest, I assumed that my wrestling days were over. Little did I know I would be stationed in Central Europe, in Germany, and at that time, in the peak of the Cold War, there were 5 million soldiers stationed in Europe, and huge sports programs. I met Doc Zuaro and Floyd Winter at a seminar for wrestling, started wrestling for a German club team, and traveling around to the different bases in West Germany to wrestle, and ended up winning a championship there, which got me a chance to try out for the All-Army Wrestling team. And that tryout ultimately changed the path of my life at that time.
Yeah, I mean, you did a good job wrestling the Army. You got pretty successful in Greco, but decided after that to, get your education, wrestle in college. Hey, you were in your late 20s wrestling Division I wrestling. What was that like?
Well, I showed up in the Olympic trials in '88 as a soldier, and I think all these college coaches were scratching their head going, where the hell did this kid come from? They had never seen me. The phone started ringing. Oklahoma State was one of the universities that was asking me about my eligibility and would I be interested in coming and wrestling for them. And Coach Winter thought that would be a great place for me to wrestle. Obviously, if he was going to lose me from the Army team, that would be a great place to go. And I ended up here at Oklahoma State. Spent 4 years here, got a degree in foreign language and literature, was on 2 national championship teams, and I think here I learned that I could win at that level. I think the Army taught me I could compete at that level and that I was capable at that level, but I think it was here as a cowboy that I learned to win at that level.
Now, you made multiple world teams in Greco. Didn't get the Olympic opportunity, and I know that was very important to you. You went after it like 3-4 times, right?
Yeah.
I mean, talk about what you think of your Greco career, because obviously, you were with some elite guys not only during your era, but even in your weight class. Right?
Yeah, I believe things work out. They happen for a reason, and things unfolded the way they did for a reason. I was an alternate on 3 Olympic teams, and literally the #1 guy in our country in '92 and '96. Most people expected me to make those Olympic teams and potentially win a medal, and it didn't happen. For whatever reason, I came up short. Butted heads with some pretty great wrestlers, guys like Mike Foy. I think I wrestled Mike 14 times throughout my career.
At least.
Derek Waldrop was the one that came up and made that team in Atlanta, who was one of my former teammates in the Army. So I think that those losses kept me hungry as I rolled into my mid-30s. Felt like it was time to retire from Olympic wrestling, Olympic caliber wrestling, and I had just found out about this new sport of mixed martial arts. So I think I was still hungry, still felt like I had things to prove and things I wanted to do, and Greco, in my opinion, is one of the better wrestling styles that translates to good fighting because of the upright posture and the clinch fighting that we get to do in mixed martial arts. So here I'm one of the few Americans that's been coached at a very high level in that style. It just translated well and seamlessly kind of moved into mixed martial arts from Olympic wrestling.
And you hugely successful career. You had a belt a bunch of times, different weight classes even. What was it about fighting that you enjoyed, and what was it about wrestling that helped make you be a good fighter?
Well, all the things that I found in mixed martial arts were things that I learned in wrestling. Wrestling started it. I think that was a particular mindset. a physicality, a technicality that I carried over into fighting that came directly from wrestling. And I think a lot of those things translated into making me a pretty good fighter. So I don't think one happens without the other. And again, I just think things worked out the way they were supposed to work out.
So you found your way into acting. How did that happen? And do you enjoy that? I mean, it looks like fun to me, but it's a lot of work too, isn't it?
Acting was another one of those big surprises, kind of like fighting. I was never a guy that was fights and in trouble in school or anything, but they were looking for authentic, real cage fighters for a scene in a movie in 1998 called Cradle to the Grave. And that was my first opportunity to go on a set and see the magic, see behind the scenes, see the process, and was immediately intrigued by that process. Went out, started taking some acting classes, got a real agent, and started trying to get better acting jobs, and kind of juggled both of those at the same time for a long time. It wasn't until about 7 years ago that I retired from fighting that I could solely focus on acting 100%, and that's what I've been doing now since I left fighting.
So you never really get away from wrestling, though, do you? I mean, you find time to go to big events and be around, go to fundraisers, even come down here for Oklahoma State once in a while.
It's been really fun since retiring from fighting to be able to refocus on going to the NCAA championships, going to the freestyle and Greco Opens, go to the World Cup, go to some of the, Save Olympic Wrestling, some of the other gala functions that USA Wrestling has been doing, and be involved in, and kind of get plugged back into the wrestling world. There was a long stretch there because I was so busy with fighting in my fight career that I didn't have time. And so my last real wrestling event was 2000 in the Olympic trials in Greco in Dallas. And then I really took a big hiatus to focus solely on fighting, and didn't get a chance to really come back and plug back into wrestling until 2011 when I retired from fighting.
So you've been in other Hall of Fames, UFC Hall of Fame, one of the early guys going in there. How's this stack up? I mean, this is from your roots for sure.
Well, I think being inducted into this Hall of Fame stacks up as probably the most prestigious and most honorable thing that I've been recognized for since I've been involved. As much as people recognize me as a fighter, I look at myself when I look in the mirror as a wrestler. I've been wrestling since I was 10 years old, and that's just become part of who I am. And that's what drug me into fighting, and all the things that happened in my fight career I did as a wrestler.
You're going in with a heck of a good class of people here. I mean, look at it, it's a heck of a lineup with some really outstanding people and wrestlers. I mean, you got family coming in, people that might be sharing this with you?
I have my family, my mom, my sister, my 3 children, all coming down to be part of the weekend here. So I'm excited to have them back. My 2 oldest, Ryan and Amy, haven't really been here to Stillwater since we lived here when I was in college. So it's been a while.
Well, hey, congratulations, Randy, and thank you for what you do for wrestling too, because obviously doing some of the extra things to help the sport grow and strengthen has made a difference too, and that's part of the reason why, we're excited to share this with you for sure.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Randy.